Hey there, it's Chris, and welcome back to the Kai Shulin project, where last time did a couple small kind of detail-y areas. We kind of finished, started some of the details on the hat. We got the red painted in. We did a coat down on the ammo box here, but we spent a lot of time working on the cloak and a little bit on the shoulder guard. And since last time, I spent about 3 hours working on this cloak and second coat of third and fourth coat of the reds on the hat. So ultimately, I ended up doing another 3 coats on the red on both here and on the hat. So now we have 4 coats on the red everywhere. I did another coat of the dark brown all the way around and did 2 more coats on the mocha on the side to get all this to work. Because really, at the end of last time, this looked really blotchy and really bad. So at least we're in a good place now to start. But yeah, it took around 3 hours worth of stuff to get to this point. Again, when I don't show that, I'm not doing anything you haven't already seen. I'm just doing the same things you have seen over and over just to get it to look nicer. So this time, kind of want to finish some of this off. I have little buttons on here I want to do. I had mentioned on here I was going to do the lighter black color kind of for the inside here, which looking at it, I never actually did a second coat of either of the blacks on this. So I'm going to at least do the lighter black on there real quick, which I'm going to break. Yeah, come on, click, 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 click. Yeah. You were just working. I'm missing the hole. There we go. Yeah, the lighter black goes for that. That also is the same color as the buttons on here. These are not the brass. These are, if you look on the side, these are the darker of the colors. At the same time, that's going to be the same as down here. That's also the edging along the edge kind of detail of that, which if I want to bring up this, you can see a little clearer. So this color is the same as edging up there, edging down there. This top one is actually a brown, it looks like. So I'll leave that. And that's a lighter red that I need to figure out. The light red on this will be the light red for that part. Then there is a symbol in here, but I haven't taken time to actually look at that symbol. So I'm going to save that for next time. And super important, I want to do the details on the hat. I want to get this thing 100% done, and that's going to be interesting. However, as I mentioned before, when we try to take our cloak on and off, or when I did, actually it's been over a week, probably a week and a half or so since I have last tried. You can see I still haven't touched up the arm where it rubs against. It was rubbed against the breastplate here, and if we turn you around, I guess I'd kind of touched it up already on the black. It was kind of rubbing on the back. So, whoop, we need to widen this a little bit. Now, I have these kind of bald spots you can see on here. Those aren't rub marks. There were rub marks on that back here on the side and 2 up front. That I actually have carved down with a knife. However, and I'm going to apologize for the noise a little bit, I'm going to get a grinder here and kind of just sand it off a little bit. There's a lot of playroom on this side because in here I have 3 layers of stuff that's overlapping each other, same as on this side there are 2 layers of things. It's a little less on the side and a little less on the back, so I need to be real careful on those. But these front ones I should be able to grind down just a little bit. This might get better than the knife was doing. So hopefully we can be able to take this thing on and off without causing any more problems. So, sorry for the noise, but we're going to just... I'm being very gentle on this. I don't want to go too far in. I don't want to go too far in. I just want to make it smooth as it comes out. I don't want to feel any bumps on this. I don't want to go all the way through. It's more to take the bumps out. Okay, so at least we're smooth now on that portion. There's nothing that she can catch herself on over there. Okay, a little bit of the same kind of on the other side. Okay, again, we're smooth in there, but I'm not going crazy. And it's just nice to get this stuff done before I start painting rather than after I start painting. So that's what I'm doing now. These I need to be a little more careful on because there's not much material. I just have one layer of stuff here to work with. So I'd want to be just going to do a real quick zip over, and that's it. Yeah, that barely did anything. It basically took the... Oh, that was a mistake. I blew it out. I blew this in, it came in, hit that, and came back out in my face. Perfect. Exactly what I wanted. Now, I'm surprised it's kind of scratching over here and not where the overlap is, but it is where it is. I can see where it's going, so... Whoa, hello. We don't need that much. Okay, once again, at least we're smooth on that. Okay, we're going to have a moment of truth once I get this stuff. I don't need all of this stuff on the ground, so I'm not using this guy. It's a big brush. I'm not using you for anything. So let's just pretend like I'm getting my workplace a little cleaner. Yeah, I'm pretty much done using this big brush for anything, so whatever. If I get stuff on here, I can brush that off. Okay, so here's the question. How'd we do? How did we do? Head's got to come off. Once again, I still have the little pike here. I can keep popping the head on, which is nice. And all right, I want to make sure the arms are in. We're close. We're close. Okay, now I know it fits. I know it fits. That's never been the issue. It's going to be when we come off, how much paint does it scrape with? Let's get you in. Let's get you on. And how are we looking from the start? So this, not gonna lie, it's not the same. It's hiding all the stuff we've just done. However, the back view looks actually pretty good. Front view is very kind of plain. This is gonna need the camo part to make it feel right, but I was worried that when it's hiding everything, it's gonna make it look worse. But okay, I'm feeling okay about this. Until we try to take it off and realize I need to touch up, who knows how many different colors. Do I have skin tones? Do I have shirt color, the red, or do I have that brass plate? No, that's... Let go. Okay, it was just a teeny bit you can see. Teeny bit you can see on the brass there. Shoulder is going to be really hard to tell because that's always been rubbing, and now it's just a teeny bit on the back. So I'm not feeling too bad about this. All right, so the brass plate one, this side wasn't hitting anything, so that's fine. Brass plate side here, I have enough material to scrape down a little more. So let's do that. Getting to a point where you can see something. If it takes more than this to finish things off, I can do that off camera. But I do think it's at least worth showing how I'm going about doing things here. Let's go a little bit further to the side as well. That's a little higher power. Okay, so we're definitely smooth. I went a little further over to the side, so that should be fine. Let's dump the dust not on our workstation. Yes, that is where I want to go. A little bit more right back here. I barely scraped it last time, so I am kind of barely scraping the thing because I know that that layer doesn't have that much to work with, and this I can still feel there's a decent amount of thickness in that, but it is only one layer, so I'm not going to go nuts over this. Yeah, I don't want to go nuts over those parts. Alright, it did kind of move the arms down a little. Let's maybe try to put this on while we see the whole thing. Yeah, okay, so I see as we go, this part's pushing that arm in as we go. But that went all the way down a little bit easier. So, and the fact that it came up easier is making me feel better. So, again, any further I have to do with that, I'll play with later. I do have to touch up a little bit of each of the elements, but that's not so bad. Deal with that part later. So, next thing I want to do is put the Dremel away. Don't want that. I want to do the light black areas just so I can cross kind of this off the list. And then that also gets the buttons on there. And I'm slightly stalling for time before I do the real detail stuff that we need to get into. So give me 1 second. We're going to move things around, try to get the camera pointing directly where it should. Because I believe the last video that went live was the really bad one, where the camera just wasn't aimed correctly at all. You saw next to nothing, you saw half my face, and that was that. So we don't want to do that this time, or if we can help it, we don't want to do that. Alright, everything looks like it's fine. Camera's facing down nicely. So let's go and just... Okay, that's not dust, that's just it being bad. Now, I never actually did the second coat on the darker black, so this is just gonna... My cut-in may not necessarily be perfect on this, and I'm not super concerned just because of that. Although, I just got a part that you couldn't see in there. Yeah, I wasn't expecting to spend the 3 hours worth of time working on the camo part, but thinking about it, doing a coat on the brown took about the hour's worth to do the first coat on the brown, so doing a second coat didn't surprise me that then took an hour. Then it was 3 coats on red, another 2 coats on, yeah, the main color of it. And so thinking about it, yeah, no, compared to how long it took to do the first ones, that's about right. And the main colors I was using this brush, not the super fat wide brush I had used in the first case, because I wanted to really cut in those areas nicely. So yeah, it is what it is. So I think now we're up to, if you count the priming part, I believe we're up to 18 hours worth of painting. I now have 9 hours worth of painting off camera, and I believe I've finished 9 sessions, including the priming. I do count the priming with the painting. So I believe I'm up to 18 hours in my guesstimate of the 11 hours worth of painting I was going to do on this. So yeah, this is going to be over 20-hour paint job. Is what it is. That's fine. Glasses, where are you? Okay. Give me 1 sec. I'm just hanging this on. Get on there. Okay, that's out of the way. I want... Let's do you next, because this one I feel like isn't the full dark black, so I'm just going to do this lower area in the lighter black and detailing here in the lighter black, and then we'll go from there. But it would be nice to get this started up so we can kind of get moving on this side of things. Oh, I need to kind of get into some weird spots, because I got white into some really good funky spots. Now on here it feels really weird that I had colored the little kind of the rivets the same color as the tan, but looking at the image, which image do I have up on the side right now? That is the correct one. Good. Yeah, looking at that, it looks like those are just kind of the same colors. They're supposed to kind of blend into the background. So if that's the case, then I'm okay with it. It is what it is, so we're just gonna we're just going to go with it. And as is usual, we do the nice kind of cut in part first, and then we'll work at filling in the rest after. So I'll get this going all the way. Okay. And now we just zoop-a-doop-a-doop off the rest here, because all of this is now the same color. And I should enjoy this. This will be the fastest part of the painting of the day, I'm pretty sure, because everything else is going to be kind of more detail-y oriented. Plus, the more things I get done in the first coat means I can do these things afterwards and finish them off on my own after, because you've now seen the first coat, and it's going to be another element that I can just completely cross off the list. So it makes me feel good in that regard. All right, just like before, we're going to do the underside as well. Although 99% of the underside you're not going to see, but there might be a chance you can kind of see around the corners or the edges, and for that purpose, I do want to go all the way around and make sure we get everything. And every once in a while it gets hard to see what's white versus what is a glare. And that's always the trick, isn't it? Especially when you're using one of these that is a satin or a semi-gloss. And granted, I haven't been using something, all of these have been just satins, but I will say they've been reading almost semi-glossy kind of in the way they're making things shine. So I'm okay with that. If that's the way it wants to be, I'm okay with that. Okay. Now, it wants to have... I was about to say, I'm not sure this paintbrush is the right paintbrush to be doing this with, but it wants just a thin line coming down here, and we can get that in. And a thin line over there. I need to be able to hold this so I can get my hand steady to get paint where it's not easy to get paint. In a controlled manner. Okay, that's not so bad. And then we're going to be doing the same on the far side, which means I'm hoping you can see this. I'm not looking at my computer screen right now, but hoping you can see what I'm doing, which is very carefully trying to go along the edge of this guy. And then once along the edge, now we can do a little bit on the surface. And that kind of gives us our double line going there, which that should be okay. I don't think we do the side edge. Do we do the side edge? I can't tell from that view. If we come back to... I'm looking at my computer screen right now. It looks like that's all we need. I have a close-up of the camo here in case we get to it, because I was planning on doing the camo kind of last, but now that I spent so long working on that, I'm kind of inclined to keep working on this and then maybe just finish on the rifle in the end. Now the buttons on here are actually, like I said, they're not the brass. They are this black color. So we're doing a little bit on those as well. So they're going to kind of disappear into this in the end. They very much disappear into this. But it's what the reference is, so we're just gonna go with it. And try to get all the little white spots. Although maybe the brass just stands out too much on this, and that's why they kind of dull it down a lot. But I got dust everywhere from the sanding. Oh well. Got a little cleaning up to do after this whole session is over. Which wouldn't be the worst thing that's happened this week. It's been a trying week. One day was a trying day. If I never have to put in another bay window in my life again, I think at least I think I can still mark off my professional career as complete. It was a bad day earlier in the week. We had a 5 foot wide by 3.5 foot tall kitchen bay window, maybe about 5.5 to 6 feet off the ground. Two of us had to go and install, and frankly, we should be doing those with 3 people, not 2. It was a very trying time getting that in. We got it, but there was much frustration, physically demanding, mentally demanding, and just way too much problem solving to try to do while a big heavy object is situated in bad positions that we couldn't get any further without having to have somebody kind of let go, run out, grab some blocks, support things, and one person standing there kind of holding things up on a scaffold. And it was just bad times all around. And if we don't have to do that again, I'll be very happy. But we get those days. Unfortunately, we do have another like an 8 or 9 foot wide bay window coming up in the next couple weeks. We have to do as well. However, we are getting extra help for that. That's one of those where we find guys who you can identify as friends, and we work to see if they will still be friends afterwards to get those things in. Oh, that's gonna be a trial. Oh, I actually got all the way around this one. It looks like, well, missed a spot down here. Looked really good in the end. In the end, it is worth it. It is worth the space. The kitchen does look a lot better with it. It kind of continues the countertop all the way across, it did its job. It's just, I'm not a fan of doing those. Technically, it's not the worst one I've ever done. We did one maybe like 15 years or so ago. That was on a second story. And I remember that was back when my boss's son was kind of working with us. So he and his son were kind of on 2 ladders, kind of pushing the thing up as he went. And I was inside with basically ropes or straps or whatever it was to kind of keep the thing against the house and from leaning back as we did the entire thing. And I still remember at least internalizing my complaining on that. It was still an extremely physical job. But at the same time, I had the quote-unquote easy part on that one, so I couldn't really verbalize how not great that was. But very rarely are bay windows fun to do. They look really good, but they are not install friendly. Just gonna throw that one out there. Alright, we're getting there. I don't need to work too hard. It's going to take 2 coats. The first coat does not go on super nice. I am kind of on camera, yes. It's more important to be careful and maybe just have it smush a little bit than to get any more stuff on the red, so I don't have to keep redoing colors over and over and over again. I already have 4 coats on the red. Let's not hit it and have to do any more. That would be great to not have to do any more of that particular shade of red. There's going to be quite a bit of light red going on because really the light red is going to be the more predominant than the dark on here. So it looks like what it does right now, but that's not really what it's going to look like in the end. Because really the dark is more the accent color. And the light is going to be kind of like how this is. The light is going to be the most predominant color on there. But I just haven't taken the time to figure out the light red yet, so that's why we have the dark red on there at the moment. Then again, today was the exact opposite kind of work day. Today, I walk into a house to do just a little kind of spackle job for HVAC guys. Had to open up some walls, and we're looking. He had a whatchamacallit, grandfather clock in the way of kind of where we needed to get to. And so as we're kind of moving it out, and he starts going over, like, oh, do you guys know anybody who repairs these types of things, can kind of set it up, get it going? Because that would be great if we can kind of get this thing going again. But I'm super nervous about doing it myself, if only because I have 2 clocks. The outside of it has disintegrated over time, so they're relatively new. They're done like the 1950s, 10s, something like that. But the guts of the clocks themselves they're 17th century guts. I'm like, oh, do you know somebody who can repair that? And I'm like, oh, well, that's a historical artifact there, and kind of yes. Well, my dad's had to go and had one of his fixed like 10 years or so ago, but I can actually say, hey, I know a guy who can do this kind of random thing. So called him up and yeah, might actually have an answer for that one. How to fix a 350, 400-year-old grandfather clock machinery. We will see. It's fun seeing stuff. It's awesome seeing stuff like that. Then, of course, I go from that job. I was there for like less than an hour. Then I go to the next job. And there's like opera playing in the background while I'm there. And I'm like, what world did I walk into for work today? We have these centuries-old artifacts we're doing on this project. Listening to like Botticelli and opera stuff or whatever going on in this house. Like, what time warp did I walk into to work for today? But, oh, it was fun. It was good. All right. Let's see. Before we do I want to once again cleverly stall on doing the details on the hat. I'm going to pull out the gold here real quick. As I said, real quick on this one, I wanted the ends. Once again, I wanted just the very kind of tip on this to be the gold color. So I'm just going to dabble a little bit on here, and I'm going to touch up the breastplate on hers as well, where it kind of did a little bit of scratching. So I never did put like the luster finish on this, but I felt like that would be too much. I think the luster worked really well on the other projects I've done it on both of the Bang one, the Bang Shishigami, and my cat from Gravity Rush ones, where you kind of wanted that more in-your-face kind of luster. But I think, again, being kind of more of a war kind of figure here, I think that would just be a little much. So I'm feeling good having this not have the super luster to it and just being this gold color as is. So I have that. Whoop. And we have you. Oh, we hit a little bit of the black there too. Okay, so it's going to be more than just this. There's going to be Yeah, by the time we come back next session, I will hopefully have fine-tuned everything enough that it can come on and off with, even if it does scrape, it'll be just hopefully barely noticeable kind of stuff and not, again, I'm not worried about it scraping in the back. You're not really going to see that. But even on the side, it's just, this chest plate here is a little more in your face. It's in the front. It's like the front thing here. It's the most, it's got the shiny luster, so your eye gets drawn to it. It's like, that's the part I want to get to not scrape if I can help it. That would be kind of cool and fantastic if I could have that work. Where'd my glasses go? Okay, and with that, we're going to be coming on to you. Just give me one more second to clean off the brush. And then we get into the meat of the stuff I wanted to get done. And we are 31 minutes in. So it is time we get into the meat of this kind of stuff. Okay, there's really not much I had to wash off on that. I barely touched the gold to the brush, so I'm wondering why I'm not seeing gold come off on the side of my little Dixie cup thing here. But yeah, there's a reason for that. Okay, so I have the super fine-tuned brush that I've used before. Now, the other thing I have noticed is, especially when I did like the zoom in on this little area here should be black for kind of like the eyeliner, but I've kind of liked it how it is, so I'm still going back and forth whether I should actually make the real Kai look and make that black or not. But for right now, I'm going to keep that as is for the moment, and we're just going to focus on the hat part. And we're going to see how well we can make a little symbol go in there. And this would be kind of a mini adventure. Also, I should move this light black off to the side because when I store things on the side, I have my dark black here and my light black here, and it's just the way it is. I can tell exactly what they are without doing anything. So, because it's really hard to tell them apart just by looking at it. So, okay. So we need to make the sniper symbol in here. Now the sniper symbol is, yeah, as you can see it on there. I'm never going to be able to point when the camera's facing this way. We need to make that translate onto this little part. And that is the same color it looks like as the hat itself. I have the finest brush that I have. Is actually one of these dumb cheapy ones. Wound up being the finest brush that I have, as I found out doing kind of the eye work before. But all right, and it is not trying to get off of my brush, which is there's one bristle sticking out farther than the rest of the brush, and it's messing this whole thing up. Okay, so we have, yeah, I'm hoping you can see what as I'm doing this. That would be really, really nice, but I'm not sure that's happening. Okay, that's not so bad. We have those, and it's 3 dots that kind of then go down. Oh, trying to put this one bristle is just not helping. Okay, it's a little bit of a mess, but it's in there. That's theoretically our symbol for our sniper symbol. If you squint and have a child's imagination, we did it. We did it. Okay, and I know I had said before I generally don't use the same brush over and over, or I don't use like the same brush twice in a session, but we're about to use the same brush twice in this session here, because that's not the only thing on the hat that gets done. Because of course it's not. Why would it be? Next one, in a way, is a little harder because it's the brown, and the brown usually doesn't read very well. I'm not sure the brown is. There's a symbol that goes on the side, a separate symbol that goes on the side of the hat as well. And that's essentially a little bit of a cross that gets a little bit of detail then that kind of goes with it. The problem is we don't really see this brown particularly well on here, so I'm not sure how good or not this is going to read in the end, but it's not really a standoffish kind of element to begin with, so that may not be a bad thing. But we kind of go across in our 4 cardinal directions first. All I'm seeing right now is glare, which is not helping. Okay, so we have our 4 cardinal directions. And we have a little bit of something that goes right inside there. Okay, so we have a little bit of it's more like kind of a target mark in a way. And so we have the inner, and then there's an outer one that goes just as well. And this is coming out surprisingly good, considering how badly it could have come out. And there we go. We have a little symbol on the side, which I'm not even sure you can see on camera. Except it's on both sides. So let me see. My first line was a little above this halfway point. So if we had fun the first time, let's do it again. Alright, so we have our 4 cardinal directions. We got our 4 cardinal directions in there. I feel like this one's coming out a little bit fatter. I'm not happy about that. I realize I'm not talking during this. You might imagine I'm concentrating a little bit. I'm glad the other side came out as good. This one's not coming out quite as nice. But the good thing is this is generally not the visible side on the model. So I'm a little less concerned with that. But it would still be nice to make it look good. All right, we got the inner. Let's get the outer. My head is probably all in this shot because I'm probably less than 6 inches from my face. I'm like, my face is literally right up in here. All right, we got a symbol on that side. We did it. Again, it's supposed to be a really kind of subtle detail, but it's in there. The one up front's not the greatest being done, but it's in there, so I'm okay with that. So at least now we come up here. I can put you on, and you're feeling all nice and good. Let's put the spoke back in here in case I need to move the head back over again. I have someplace for it to go. I don't need the brown for anything else. So let's put you back in plastic. I feel like the brown is starting to harden a little bit because I've been using quite a bit of it. And as it gets thinner, as it gets less and less in here, it has a greater and greater chance of hardening. So I'm trying to get a number of the brown things done that I can. So yeah, there's a little bit of that. Oh crap, I wasn't done with the brown. Actually, it's not gonna matter. We're gonna be finishing on brown work, I think, in the end anyway. Because if we come back to here, just as we have these lines on the front, they also do the same in the back. So I need to do another nice edge. So I'm not done with the brown yet. So I think what I want to do is figure out a lighter red, get this done. I'll have a lighter red mixed up, and then maybe next time go and do... Actually, I wonder if just the straight bright red is going to work on... No, I think I want to tone you down just a little bit. I brought you a little bit in the maroon, so I might bring you just a little bit in the maroon kind of thing. I can add a little bit of the blue kind of to it. And what was that? I wanted yeah. I wanted a little bit of blue and a little bit of that brown, just to kind of tamp it down just a little bit. So I can bring you back over here. We're going to start. This is the holiday red. This is bright red. Well, this has definitely been used. This must have been for... I think just about every scarf I've done. Bang's scarf probably used quite a bit of this. Now, I don't need super much of this, but I want to have enough to kind of work with for mixing purpose. I want just... Again, I don't want to do too much. I just want to tamp down a little bit of that brightness in here. That tamped it down a lot. We went very, very purple. All right. I should probably go back and see how I mixed the other one. All right, we now have a soft red, kind of in a pinker, softer red kind of color, which is, so let's see if we can get some of that vibrancy back. I didn't want a super vibrant red, but I didn't want... Hey, there we go. I feel like this is now more of a tamped down, has that little kind of hint of purple in here, but it's not all the way like the other one is. And do I have... That's the other red, so it is definitely lighter than the other red, and we're still within the color scheme of it. So we're going to try this on the first coat. We're going to see how it dries. Right now, everything I've done has been drying darker, but worth a shot to see how this goes. All right, and the only thing I really have to put it on right now is this. But again, this will be on the camo part as well. Let me see, if I'm holding you here, yeah, I'm going to move you down so it's where my hand naturally wants to be. So you can see stuff that I can see. Might wind up putting a little more of the actual red in here. It's already a little more subdued than I thought it would be. And this is just the first coat. You can see the white and all that coming through, so yep. But I'm going to be doing second, third, and fourth coats. I'm going to assume it's going to take 4 coats. Every other red has taken 4 coats, from here to Bang to the Night Witch one to Rains. They've all taken the same 4 to 5 coats worth of red. So I'm just going to assume it's going to be the same. But yeah, I'm going to assume I'm just going to have to maybe lighten this thing up a little bit, because we're looking kind of lightish right now. It's looking fine here. But as we do more coats, it's going to darken up. And I'm not sure that's what it wants. So we'll get it to look good in the end. It'll all be fine. I'll get those little white spots. We don't want to see white. White is the enemy of everything, because it just stands out and screams, I'm a primer spot that you missed. And it feels so bad when you see it, because your eye just gets drawn to it, because it's a light color. Dark colors blend in towards the back. Light colors come out towards you. It's how colors work. Okay, and the back. Can't forget the back for too long. Shouldn't need to worry too much about seeing white back here, but we can make things look good. It's okay. It takes very little effort on this part to just go the extra mile and make sure we get all the stuff. Just do it. Make sure we get the side. The side will be visible. Back may not be visible. The side will be. I see some white right there. And as is usual, first coat looks really not good. But we're going to get more stuff on there, and it will look good. Actually, it's not terrible. That's not terrible. It's blotchy as heck, but it's not overly terrible. So that's in there, and we're going to need to break out the brown for the rest of the... I was going to say for the rest of this session, but yeah. What I may do is I may do the back end of that cloak just off camera. Just again, you've seen me do the front side of it. I'm going to be doing literally the exact same thing on the back. But I can do one more detail on that shoulder guard here with y'all around. You all. All is, I need a new plastic bag, which is an old plastic bag. We've had a gray and a red in here before. Now we get a red in here again. I'm recycling these bags. I have used all of these before. We now have more colors to... You see my color section here. We have all the stuff to choose from. Doing what I can. Alright, I put the brown down. Alright, there's the brown. Because I had forgotten we do need a little more brown on this. The top trim here is the brown. let's at least put that down so it's not hit the red. It looks like I'm bleeding when I hit the red. It's funny how this reads different than the line down there. So it just, for some reason, one of them was brown and one of them looked like it was the black. And sometimes I don't know why they make the design decisions the way they do, but they sure do. And now we got to live with it. We got to follow it. All right, didn't get that much on the brush. I think I'm probably tilting this thing away from the camera, so I'm sorry about that. But at the same time, I need to be able to see what I can do. So it's trying to strike that balance of my own usability and your visibility. I do need a little down there, and if I'm on this, I might as well do something on the back here, just wrap this whole thing. Whoop. Okay. Actually, just one coat on this gives it kind of that metallic-y look. It has like the scrapes on there, and it kind of looks like it's worn in. I'm going to have to debate whether to do additional coats on that, because that does kind of have that worn. Although at the same time, everything else on her looks kind of nice and fresh and new. So maybe I don't mess with that and just kind of keep that looking the same as everything else. Once again, I'll think about it. We'll see how it all looks. And how are we doing on time? We're 53 minutes. I think I'm just going to stop there. And yeah, if it's not a problem, I might just go and do the lining on this down, up, around, down, up, around. I'll just do that part off camera because you saw me do the front side up and around earlier, so it's just doing the exact same thing there. And then that will leave pretty much the rifle and doing the actual camo part here. I can focus on the two main event things for the next probably 2 sessions to get that done. But yeah, that's where we are. That's where we're gonna be stopping. Let's go and move. Doop-a-doop-a-doop. Gonna bring you back in. All right, so we have this. I can put up here. Did I clean the brush? I didn't clean the brush out. We're not stopping out here. Hold on. I gotta clean the brush. 1 second. I don't want to lose the brush because I forgot to do something with it. That would be very unprofessional. Okay, and rather than ending on this view, we can actually take out, can we see? Yeah, camera's not really picking up. Because that wants to be that brown, the details on the side really don't get picked up very much, but they're there. But also, we haven't really finished a session with this on. So let's do it. Have the full Kai going here. All right, it's it's easier getting the head on and then kind of getting the hat in place. So that's in. We can take you go up here. That now has a little bit more character to it, so at least it stands out a little more. And in terms of things standing out more, that stands all the way out. But no, there we are. We are in the process. We are in process, or in progress over here. We are in all of the progress. And how does Kai look as we spin around? Because again, I haven't really looked at this view in a long time now, so it does read pretty well. I do like the color selection. We just need to turn it into actual camouflage. And next time we come back, I'll have the band done. And I think I will actually focus on, if I need to do anything more on the shoulder guard there, I'll do that. And probably focus on the camouflage. I've been going so far on the camouflage, let's just do the camouflage. And then all we'll have left is making the rifle look like a rifle, which should be interesting. I haven't really looked at what's going to be required for that, so that should be interesting. But I'm pretty happy with where we round up. So let's just pop you on the end. We have you on the side. That kind of comes in like that. And yeah, there we go. There we have it. Kai, meet Kai. It's not 100% one-to-one, but it came out pretty dang close. And until next time, enjoy.